What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Goat Talk. As always, I'm joined here by Sal, Greg, and Chris. Before we jump into everything, just want to say real quick, rest in peace to former Buccaneers running back Doug Martin. He passed away at 36. The muscle hamster will be missed. He had one of the best nicknames in sports. And with that being said, let's get to it.
Certainly, rest in peace, Doug Martin. All right, 4 topics today, boys. Changing up the settings a little bit. We got right off the bat, Jets 0-7. Are they going to be the first 0-17 team now at the extra game to join only the 08 Lions and the 17 Browns who went 0-16? Our second topic, does the MLB need to implement a salary cap? Is the MLB even fun anymore? Who wins the World Series? 3, is it time to put Jonathan Taylor in the MVP conversation? Can he be the first MVP since my boy all day, Adrian Peterson in 2012? And 4th, which is the team in the NFL right now that is in the middle of the mix of all of the standings and the seeding that is a concern? We're going to cover all 4 of those topics today, but first we'll start off with the bang. Jets, Jets, 0-7. Are they going 0-17? I say yes. They will be going 0-17. Does anybody think otherwise?
Yes, they will be. Their defense has not looked bad this past week and the week before. They're starting to get a little bit better. But Justin Fields got benched. You have Tyrod coming in, who Tyrod will always have a place in my heart. I loved him on the Bills and everything, but yes, he will be 0-7. They will be 0-7.
I didn't even know he was in the league anymore. I didn't even know he was on a roster.
It's the Jets, it's minor leagues.
Yeah, I mean, just going down the rest of their schedule, they got the Bengals, the Browns, the Patriots, the Ravens, the Falcons, Dolphins, Jaguars, Saints, Patriots, Bills. Maybe their 2 maybe wins, if I had to say, would be the Browns and the Saints. But I still think the Browns and the Saints are better than them.
See, I don't know. I mean, you threw the Dolphins out there in the mix, and the Dolphins are bad. Like,
true.
They are. Did you see the way that offense was rolling against the Browns? Oh, I'm sorry. And I think we're gonna talk about it a little bit more. I think McDaniels and Tua are gone like simultaneously. Like Tua gets benched and Mike McDaniels is gone. That might be the easiest of the coaching decisions that I think we'll talk about. And then the Jets, they gotta go 0-17. I'm sorry, like Greg, I love you, dude.
You think
like
the Jets? You think they beat the Dolphins?
But I think what you were saying about like the Saints, I think the Saints over the Dolphins being in your list, that's kind of what I was getting at, because I saw how the Saints played against my Patriots. I was actually pretty impressed by like Rattler and what he was doing, especially in that first half. And obviously the first play of the game, he threw like a 50-yard dart down the road to, I think it was it Olave? I think it was Olave. But, you know, the Dolphins compared to the Saints, I think the Saints look like a playoff team compared to the freaking Dolphins. That's just me. But I think if there's ever going to be that sneaky game in there for the Jets, like that trap game, or in this way for the Jets, a W game, would be, I think, the Dolphins.
I'm going to go first before you jump in, because you being a Jets fan, I feel like you should go last so you have your verdict here. But, like, I think the reason why they go 0-17 is because if you look at the teams that went 0-16, there's a lot of the shared same characteristics, right? You look at the 08 Lions. Like, I remember when the Vikings played them and Dan Orlovsky ran out of the back of the end zone to avoid Jared Allen being sacked. Like, you look at some of the plays that the Jets develop, like, there is nothing offensively that shows me that they can score more than 30 points a game. Granted, they did it early on in the year against the Steelers, but like when you're looking at some of these, games, to your point, Chris, like the Saints or even the Dolphins, like there are some glimpses in those offenses where I'm like, they can outscore the Jets.
Fair.
The Jets defense reminds me a lot of the 17 Browns, where like the Browns defense was good. Like they had good players on the team. They were coachable. They just couldn't finish. You have that
Score.
combination, like the offense from the '08 Lions is like what the Jets offense is right now, and the 17 Browns is the Jets defense right now. You put both of them together, you get 0-17.
Yeah, it's how it goes. And honestly, I'm at the point right now where I kind of want an 0-17 season. And I say that with good reason, right? Give me that number one pick. We always have a tendency to win enough games to not have a top three pick. It always seems to be the case. And if they do, they get someone named Sam Darnold or Zach Wilson who they can't develop. And then they go somewhere else and turn into a stud. It just always seems to go that way and it doesn't change, right? I think, honestly, at this point, just lose, baby. Just let it ride and just lose it out.
Okay, but like, hear me out here. Like, do you really think if you go in 17, you're gonna draft the guy that's gonna turn around the franchise?
No, but what else do we have to lose? Absolutely not.
But yeah, I mean, but how many times are you going to repeat the same thing over and over? Like, how many times have the Jets? I mean, you can argue about taking all you want. How many times have the Jets purposely lost and have purposely sucked in order to gain that high draft capital for those picks like Sam Darnold to not exist for the Jets, anyways? And it's.
Yeah.
No matter how many coaches I feel like come through the Jets, GMs, I mean, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you have an idea of what's going on, Greg, but like where do they turn? Like, they've tried literally everything, and it's just the same result over and over and over again.
Sell the team. That's I think what it comes down to. It starts at the top, in my opinion. And I'm not even trying to be that guy. But I don't know. I mean, if it's not working at the lower level with the players, with the coaches, with the GMs, then start fresh. I mean, let's face it. What has he really won as being the owner of the Jets? Like, not much. And I don't think he was the owner when they won with Joe Namath in Super Bowl III.
No.
So exactly my point. That's my point.
No.
So they need to make a change because they have not done anything since then, and they are kind of the laughing stock of the league.
Yeah, and I think it's a lot deeper than just a quarterback problem. So you're going to get that number one pick. You're going to take a quarterback at number one, which arguably this is not a good quarterback class coming into the draft. So no matter who you take, they're going to be hit or miss, but it's a lot deeper than just a quarterback at that organization. They need a lot.
And it's how you develop those players, right? Like,
yes,
like for us, I in all honesty, I feel like now you kind of see what potentially Mac Jones could be in like a decent team. But like, look what the Patriots did with Mac Jones. Like, they had no offensive line, they had no offensive weapons, and you go out there and you ruin a kid because he's getting sacked all the time. He has nobody to throw the ball to. His running backs suck. Just the play calling is awful. So it's like, even if you draft the number one pick or the guy in your respective draft, or who the team thinks this is going to be our next franchise player, if you don't have a solid group of coaching and a good foundation of players around him, it's just going to be the same result over and over.
Yeah, and
exactly.
That's the thing.
People just draft a quarterback and think it's going to fix everything.
Exactly.
Yeah. I mean, and you look at the Lions now, right? Like, even after 08, I think it was like, I want to say 2016 maybe, or 17. Like, I remember the Lions were like 0-7, like Dan Campbell's first year. It might have been even later. And then, of course, they beat the Vikings to not be defeated anymore. So go figure. But like, you look at, to your point, Chris, though, you look at like the Browns, like they cleaned house, brought a new GM in, brought in Stefanski, took a couple years to build it. Same thing with the Lions, like cleared house, brought in a new GM, brought in Dan Campbell, and now like they're not the laughing stock of the NFL. Like when
they're
they
Super Bowl
were
contenders.
Us growing up. I mean, we grew up knowing the Browns and the Lions were both shit. Like it just was what it was.
Yeah.
Now it's like the laughing stock of the NFL is the Giants and the Jets. And they both won't make changes. And until I think they make a change, maybe not selling the team, but like absolutely clearing house, like everybody's gone and you bring in a leader. The NFL is defined by leaders, not at the quarterback position, but at the whole. I mean, you might be looking at the Jets still being bad for the next 5 years unless they make a real change.
Yeah. So, and I mean, I think the Giants are definitely in a lot better position than the Jets are right now. They at least can score. have a young talent in Dart. They have a young talent in Scadaboo. Given, they gave up 33 points in the fourth quarter this week to lose miraculously. That was insane. But I think they are in a way better position than the Jets. Honestly, I think probably besides the Dolphins, there's pretty much any team in the league is in a better position than the Jets are right now.
Yeah.
And maybe the Raiders. Raiders are in a bad spot too.
Yeah.
The Tennessee Titans we forget as well.
Them too.
The Titans are in a bad way too.
I still think they're in a better position because you got Cam Ward, you got your guy. Now it's in that whole thing that we were just talking about with developing him and getting him weapons and getting him a line. So they apparently, per them, they have their guy already. Now it's just can they actually develop him and build an offense around him. So they're already started because they got the number one pieces, their guy. The Jets don't. They have nobody.
Yeah. And we can certainly talk in other episodes about like those teams and everything, but a stat that I found absurd that I was looking into the other day, and I guess it hints at the Tennessee Titans and how bad they are, and I guess it hints at like the player development, right? Like Cam Ward, the number one overall pick, over Travis Hunter, who everybody thought was going to go one because of the dual threat. A really good quarterback in college, and trying to do that in Tennessee where there is nobody. There is nobody. I think their best receiver is Van Jefferson. And so it's like, but you see how it affects him because there was a stat that I was listening to on right before the Patriots game that Cam Ward has been sacked this year alone. What we're in like 6-7 games. He's been sacked for over 200 lost yards.
Yeah,
as that is
insane.
Like, what is he going to do about that? Like, I mean, he can only throw the ball away so many times, right? And I think it just speaks to like that team is in a really bad spot as well, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like he said a couple weeks ago, we asked. Like, just straight up, we asked.
Well, speaking of teams that aren't so ass, we turn to another topic and we look at some of the teams in the middle of the pack in the NFL right now. You know, maybe some of your 4-2 teams, some of your 3-3 teams. Who do you guys feel in the middle of the pack is like of most concern right now in the NFL? Maybe a team that was in it last year that isn't looking good this year, or a team that you thought was going to be good but that's just isn't. What are one of those teams 7 weeks in that you're concerned about with how they should be, you know, underperforming?
I think you start off with the underperforming. You have to say the Texans, with the fall from grace of CJ Stroud, and you know, granted there's injuries on that team, but they just can't find that rhythm offensively. And by the time the defense does the job, like the offense just isn't putting up points on the board. I think another surprising one is the Commanders. Obviously Jaden Daniels with the injury, you know, that kind of sucks that you're relying on, I believe it's Marcus Mariota.
Yep.
Right. You know,
Yep.
And so that can definitely take the wind out of the sails of a thriving team. I think an interesting team, and I'm going to eat these words in a couple weeks. I know I am. I think an interesting team that you can look at are the Atlanta Falcons. Just because
you're going a different direction there.
But you know, like I think Bijan is just a stud. He's just carrying that team. And Penix, you know, it took him a while to get comfortable and to really find those pockets. Obviously, like what happened to Kirk Cousins, but whatever. But I think Bijan definitely has the talent to like carry that team to a push. But those are the teams for me that I think are going to be definitely in the hunt. And then those teams like the Commanders and the Texans, I wouldn't be surprised if they maybe figure something out, more so with the Commanders when they start to get healthy again. But that's like, I think the Texans is the biggest shock because CJ Stroud, like, you know, ever since that Sun moment with Caleb Williams, you know, it's just been a constant decline. I'd be interested to see how that kind of plays out for the remainder of the year.
Yeah, bouncing off that, Chris. Honestly, another one that I was thinking about too was the Chargers a little bit because you stole my thunder, no pun intended, there with the Commanders. I was going to actually mention them too. But the Chargers, in the sense, right, they got blown out by the Colts this past week, which the Colts are obviously one of the best teams in the league. But they almost lost to the Dolphins last week. And we know how the Dolphins are at football. They kind of remind me of my Jets. Not very good. So, like, to me, that's a little concerning, right? They kind of won a bunch of close games that they did win, right? They only have one game that wasn't, or a couple of games that weren't very close, right? Then they got to play Sal's team on Thursday, which, in my opinion, I think is not an easy game, right? Um, so that's another team that's a little bit of a concern for me, right? We've all hyped up Herbert for the longest time, um, but I feel like he has not been that guy the last year or so. Right? I feel like he just hasn't been the same dude that we thought he was going to be. That's another team I would say to look out for a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like Herbert is kind of your biggest like what if guy.
Yep.
Like, what if he had a defense? What if he had a different coach? What if he had a better receiver? Yet he got all those things, and he's still not. I like Justin Herbert, I do, but they're not in the best spot. And the Commanders, I was going to bring them up too, because now with Jaden Daniels' injury, who knows what's going to happen with them? And given, they just got spanked by Dallas, their number one receiver was Robbie Anderson because everybody's hurt on that team. So they're in a bad spot too. My dark horse for being in a bad spot, despite their record and everything, is the Broncos. They had a lot of very close. They should have just lost to the Giants.
Yeah.
They should have. There was another game that they should have lost. Like, they are in close games. Yes, they're winning them barely. They're escaping. But if they were to go to the playoffs right now, I would feel very confident for whoever they're playing. I think their record, they're a lot worse than their record shows right now. But they got a great defense, but Bo Nix has not. He hasn't been the rookie year, Bo Nix.
You can argue for the Panthers too. They're 4-3. Like, the Panthers are 4-3. Like, we never, like, going into this season, we would have never guessed that. Right. I think that's
before the season started was they were going to win the division, given that's not going to happen with Baker Mayfield the way he's playing. But before the season, I said they're going to be a lot better than people expect because Bryce Young finished that season last year so strong. But I mean, if they beat the Bills this week, I'm done.
What do you guys think? In just like all honesty, what do you guys think is one of the teams that are like the upper echelon that are going to have that fall from grace or that come back to reality? Like, personally, and it's an easy one for me, I think, because every game to me is a trap game at this point, could be the Patriots. Like, they have that 5-2 record, but in like there's second in the AFC, but like I don't know if it's like a false hope or like I want them to be good. Don't get me wrong, I do, and I've really enjoyed watching them play football the past couple weeks. But I don't know if they're at that echelon yet, where you're talking about because the Bucks are studs. Like Baker Mayfield, we're going to talk about it a little bit more, but I think Baker Mayfield is going to be the MVP of the league this year if he continues this performance. Another interesting one to me is I'm wondering if the Colts come back down to earth a little bit more.
I was going to say the Colts, but yet they prove me wrong every single week. I continue to doubt them, but yet every single week they prove me wrong.
Yeah, I think it'll be the Bucks. Their defense is not impressive. It's tough. It's no. But it is tough to win games when your defense is letting up almost as many points as you're scoring, and you have the quote unquote, the MVP right now. Like, as great as he's playing, you're not going to win in the playoffs against teams that have defenses that lock up. So whether I think they're going to win the division, no question about it. But I think half of that reason is because of how ass the rest of their division actually is for the most part, right? I mean, the Saints suck, Falcons are Panthers are doing all right, but let's face it, that division kind of sucks. So so that's just kind of what I think right there. They're a good team, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're going 16-1 for perspective.
Yeah, I mean, I look at two teams that I think, Chris, to answer your question, is I look at Green Bay and I look at Philly. And Green Bay right now sitting at 4-1-1. You know, they tied the Cowboys. They barely beat the Jacoby Brissett-led Cardinals yesterday. They shouldn't have won. The really only commanded game they've had this year was week 1 against Detroit. And I'm not just saying it because I'm a Vikings fan. Like, one of my really good friends is a Packers fan. We were talking about it last night. It's like they haven't proven anything. Like they're winning, but they're winning barely. And they're winning barely against teams that they should be blowing out as a Packers roster. Like, I don't really know about Matt LaFleur. I think he makes some weird decisions. I think he calls games scared sometimes. I think that, I know they're without, some of their wide receivers right now, but you still have Josh Jacobs. Your line's healthy. And I think Jordan Love has been playing really, really subpar as of late. It almost reminds me of the season before he kind of blew up. Like, he just isn't really there. And then you look at Philly and, like, yeah, granted, yesterday they beat the Vikings, but like that, if they don't get a pick six, they don't win that game. And they're winning games purely based upon like luck. And I don't think a 5-2 Philly team is scary to a lot of people this year. I just don't. So I look at those two teams that I think they're going to come down. I hope those are two teams I don't really enjoy. So for my personal sake, I hope that they come down. But I just think also from a reality standpoint, like I'm trying to choose different teams that you guys aren't alluding to. So I think those are two teams that you could very realistically see, maybe not miss the playoffs, but be wild card teams.
Yeah.
And so I want to ask you, Sal, because obviously you watched the game and everything. What did you think about that Hockenson call?
Yeah, and I mean, I think, you look at Sunday night last week, right, again, when the Chiefs played Tampa, and Kelsey has the similar catch,
Yep.
and it's a catch, right? And then even you look earlier in the game yesterday, the throw to Devonta Smith hit the ground, and they called it a catch in the same game, which was more of a non-catch than the Hockenson call. And I think we could have a whole podcast about refereeing. I mean, I could go
Oh my
on
God.
about everything,
it's
right?
been so bad this year. So
I
bad.
mean, listen, at the end of the day, like yesterday, like the Vikings beat themselves. Like I could talk 30 minutes about what I think about the Vikings on this podcast, but I can't do that. And I think, ultimately, like, it probably should have been ruled a catch, but at the end of the day, like you also are 1 for 6 in the red zone. Like you can't rely on that to get you to be in the end of the game. But I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how things play out. I think the misleading of refereeing in the NFL is going to ruin games down the line. We've already seen it ruin games. It's ruined games in the past. It's doing it in the present. It's going to continue to do it in the future. I think until there's actually some NFLPA and the Players Association like tries to do something against NFL officiating, it's not going to change. So it'll for sure be interesting. But moving on to the MVP conversation topic, our third topic of the day, sticking with the NFL. You look at Jonathan Taylor, right? We ask, it's a QB award, quote unquote, year over year. MVPs are always quarterbacks. As I said earlier, the last non-quarterback was Adrian Peterson in 2012 to win it. But you look at Jonathan Taylor, he's had 3 games with 3 rushing touchdowns this year. He's averaging 5.3 yards a carry. They lost both their center and their guard to the Vikings. Whole new offensive line. Is he in the MVP conversation, and should he be the MVP?
No.
Really?
No.
Wow.
He's in the conversation. Don't get me wrong. He's in the conversation 100%.
Okay.
And the only reason why I say no is because, just like you said, how you started that, it's a QB award. We all know this watching the NFL every year. Saquon was in the conversation last year, but he didn't win. He could have, but he didn't. It's a QB award. Offense Player of the Year, lockdown. Like you said, this past week, he had 3 touchdowns. That's his 3rd game. He did against the Titans, the Raiders, and the Chargers. He's first in the NFL in rushing yards, first in the NFL in rushing TDs, second in the NFL in carries, and like you said, he's averaging 5.3 yards per carry. Those, if he finishes the season with numbers like that, yeah, that's an MVP year. But it's a quarterback award. He's not going to get it. He deserves it, and he deserves to be in that conversation. But I don't think the NFL changes the award. I think he gets Offense Player of the Year and MVPs. Right now, it would be Baker or Dak.
Right now, he wins it over Baker. Right now, Jonathan Taylor wins the award over Baker. Yeah,
honestly, I think right now Dak wins it over Baker.
Oh my
Look
God!
At the stats. Look at the stats.
Not with the record that he has.
Look at the
Oh,
stats. If
Mhm.
we want to go off stats, like everybody was saying when these whole MVP awards every year, it's about stats and whatnot, right? Look at Dak's
but you
stats.
look at
He
last
has
year's
the highest
MVP.
powered offense in the league.
But you look at last year's MVP with Allen winning it over Saquon, right? Like he wins the MVP last year. In my eyes, I think he should have won it over Saquon. Like, do I think Saquon controlled the Eagles last year more so than he is this year? Absolutely. I'm not discounting that. But I do think Allen should have won the award 2 years ago against Lamar instead of Lamar winning it. So I think, like, yes, is it a QB award? I also then think you should have two MVPs because the offensive player of the year is not the same as an MVP caliber player, in my opinion,
Yeah.
because there's other players that deserve that offensive player of the year award. I almost think you can't have the same players in the same conversation. It's either you win the offensive player of the year or you win the MVP. Like Baker Mayfield and Jonathan Taylor at the end of the year, if they're in the MVP conversation, they should not be in the same offensive player of the year because you can't win both. That's how I see it. I don't think I'm not saying Dak shouldn't be in it, but I don't think he'd win it over Baker.
I think I completely agree with you, Sal. I mean, and I think you look at what Baker Mayfield is doing with the personnel that he's doing it with. Like no Chris Godwin, no Mike Evans for the beginning part of the season. You lose out on Ibuka. I think that's how you say his last name. And he's taking over football games, and that I don't. And again, we're also not counting. This pains me to say this. Like Patrick Mahomes is playing really good football right now. I know. I saw that. I knew I was going to get that reaction out of you, Sal. I know. But we can't deny what these voters look at, and we can't deny the trend. I think to Joey's point on what this league and what this award means. Who is going to gain the most from this is going to be the NFL, right? It's a quarterback award. It's a quarterback award. You're never going to see another 2012 AP like that. You're never going to see that. And not with today's social media, not in today's league. It's going to be a quarterback award unless somebody does a Shohei Ohtani, plays defense and offense and throws like for four touchdowns in a game and has like 20 sacks in a game. It's just not going to happen.
They got to break the single season rushing record.
I was
So
going to say the exact same thing.
Yeah.
You think so? How many years then would you say that? And like how are you saying then for the next 10 years it'll never be anybody but a quarterback? Like you think
Honestly,
it's going to be
yes.
that long?
Yes.
You can definitely make that argument. Yeah.
Well, how long has it been since the running back won it? Over 10 years, right?
Yeah, it's been 15.
Yeah.
Well,
That's my point.
13
It's been a
years,
while.
Yeah.
So
And
it's
given
going to be tough.
since everybody kind of just went crazy, let me throw this at you real quick. Dak Prescott has 1,881 passing yards, second in the NFL. 16 TDs, second in the NFL. 81.4 QBR, first in the NFL, and only has 3 picks. I am by no means a Cowboys fan or a Dak Prescott fan, but the stats don't lie. Baker, 1,539 passing yards, 10th in the NFL. 12 TDs, tied for 7th. 71.1 QBR, 8th in the NFL, but only 1 pick. Dak has the better stats.
Here's the thing,
And
though.
you want to go off stats. People were saying last year when Josh Allen won it that Lamar had better stats, which maybe he did. But then 2 years ago when Lamar won it, Dak had better stats than him. So it's not just based off stats.
I think it's also a likeness award, though, right? Like you look at it last year, like Josh Allen is the face of, like, has been arguably could be said the face of the AFC, even with Mahomes and the success they've had. Like Josh Allen has completely revamped the entire Buffalo Bills franchise since he's been there. That's no doubt about it. The problem is, though, is Dak. Nobody likes Jerry Jones. So I'm not saying Dak shouldn't be in the conversation, but Dak's not going to win it with all the things that surround the Cowboys. If Dak was on another team putting up these numbers, I would have not even barked at that. I would have said, Joey, absolutely, you're 100% right. He probably should win it. But because of the situation that he's in, like everyone always talks about, like to be the Dallas Cowboys quarterback is like being a starting pitcher for the New York Yankees. You're just never going to get away from it. You're never going to get away from the heat.
Do you think that's wicked unfair, though?
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
Like to the
100%.
player, right?
100%.
That's 100%.
Yes.
And I know me and Greg have had that conversation before, like, because there's such a thing as like voter fatigue, right?
Yep.
Like we made that argument. Me and Greg talked about it before with like Aaron Judge, with like Shohei Ohtani. Like, there's no denying the greatness of this individual, right? He's doing shit on a baseball field, completely different sport, but doing shit on a baseball field that's never been done or hasn't been done since plumbers were in the fucking MLB, right? So it's like, it's I don't know. I agree with what you're saying, Joey, and I totally get like the stats mean a lot in this conversation, but if the team's not likable, it's the Dallas Cowboys.
No, 100%.
No,
And it's not just the
everybody
stats
wants the
award.
Cowboys to lose.
Yes. It's not just the stats award.
Yeah.
And that's where I disagree. I think it should just be a stats award, but it's not.
Mhm.
At the end of the day, the NFL is a business.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Just like the NFL is a business, to the last topic, the MLB is also a business. And we talk about a big thing, I think, that's gone around the MLB. You pay the luxury tax at the end of the season, but you don't pay, you do have no salary cap. You can get whoever you want, whenever you want, however you want. The Yankees made this famous back in the 90s. George Steinbrenner said he'll buy whoever he wants. Steve Cohen with the Mets recently has said the same thing. Now you have the Dodgers doing this. Before, very quickly, do we think the MLB should have a salary cap limit?
I think it depends on who you ask, right?
I'm
I mean,
asking you three.
Well, I mean, if for us, it's
No.
kind of for us being Yankees, Mets, and Red Sox fans, which are big markets. We're gonna say I'm gonna naturally say no. Chris just said no too, right? I mean, in my opinion, it in the end of the day, it does benefit us more often than not. I mean, obviously the Dodgers right now are that team, but you got to think how much the salary cap would even help that much with the way they structured Otani's contract, right? Like he's getting
yeah.
$2 million a year, and he's gonna get paid like.
It's the Bonilla treatment. It's the Bobby
It's-
Bonilla treatment.
Yeah, but the difference is he's already made back the money to the Dodgers in the first year. Like
Here's the thing where I differ
Yeah.
though, Greg. Like you look at other teams with the salary cap, other leagues, like it's controlled, right? You can have a controlled environment because I get into a lot of arguments with MLB fans here in Nebraska because they give me a bunch of crap that I'm a Yankees fan. I'm like, if you're going to be mad at the Yankees and what they do, how can you root for the Dodgers? Like that's where I differ because it's like if you're going to be mad at the Yankees and they're going to come out and say they're going to buy the team and the Dodgers aren't, you know what I mean? So like if you're going to hate on the Yankees and the success they've had and you're like, "Oh no, there should be no salary cap, but I'm never going to root for the Yankees, but I hope the Dodgers win the next 5 World Series." Like why would you do that? So that's why I like wanted to talk about this because like I do think there should be a salary cap. I even think it would even as a Yankees fan, like I think there's a point in time where there's not enough diversity in the MLB for it to be exciting. I genuinely don't watch baseball because I don't find it enjoyable anymore. Like I will only watch the Yankees or postseason baseball. Granted, I don't get a lot of games out here, so it's different. But like I genuinely don't find the MLB enjoyable anymore because of that reason, and that's why I think there shouldn't be one.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's kind of hard to incorporate one where baseball is right now. And given, the Dodgers are doing this, and I hate the Dodgers being a Mets fan, but given if the Mets were in their shoes, I'd be thrilled about it. It is what it is. Then you look at teams like I'm sure fans of Pittsburgh and Cincinnati, whatever, those bottom teams are like, "Oh, this is ridiculous. The Dodgers are just spending everybody." It's like you can do that too. You just don't have an owner that's willing to do that or that has as much money as the Dodgers or so on. The thing I don't like is the whole perfect example, Otani's contract. I'm sorry, that man should not be making $2 million a year. You should not be able to do that. Salary cap, I don't think there should be one, but you should not be able to structure contracts like that because that is ridiculous.
Yeah,
yeah.
The other thing though too is like you look at the Mets, right? You look at like Steve Cohen. He has to pay the MLB like $450 million at the end of the year just for a luxury tax. So on top of paying players now, you have to pay hundreds of millions of dollars just to have the team. So that's why I'm like, if you got rid of the luxury tax and you maybe then paid players, it would be more diversified. But all these teams have to pay these luxury taxes, so you can't structure it the way you want to. Like, I almost think get rid of the luxury tax and just have no salary cap. Then now you're saving the money at the end of the year.
So
Okay.
like, and I'm just going to ask the question to the group. If you had an unlimited budget, but you knew at the end of the year that you would have to pay some sort of tax penalty depending on how much you spend, but no matter what your organization brought in, which is probably going to double the amount that you're paying out in cap and taxes. I mean, in annual salary to the players and taxes. Would you do what the Dodgers are doing, which is you're gonna spend the money on these players? And also, I think with the Dodgers, it kind of like people want to play with Shohei Ohtani. Like they're don't get it twisted. The everybody wants to play with that dude because we're looking at one of the better players to ever play this game, period. Right? And I think the Dodgers are taking advantage of that because they're like, okay, these dudes are going to come here and we're going to pay them, and they may be able to swing their contracts. I mean, you see it all the time. Like some of the pitching staff contracts that they have are like ridiculously cheap for what these dudes are doing in the postseason. So I think my question is, if you had the unlimited budget, I guess for the lack of better terminology, but you had to pay a little bit of that back. Not a little bit. I mean, I'm thinking $400 million is a little bit. But if you had to pay that back to the MLB at the end of the year, but you win a World Series and you have some of these dudes logged up for a majority left of their career, would you do it?
I
Yes.
think it matters. It depends where you're located, in my opinion, because you look at the Dodgers now. People are like, oh, LA, Ohtani,
Yeah.
Betts, Freeman. They want to go play with them. Meanwhile, the Angels had arguably two of the best players to ever play the game in Mike Trout and Ohtani, and nobody wanted to go there. Nobody wanted to play with them. Given maybe they got a little scared after that horrendous contract they gave Anthony Rendon. Maybe they were a little scared to spend money after that, but nobody wanted to go play there. I think if you're in LA, I think if you're in New York, these big markets, yes. I think it's a little tougher for a market like Pittsburgh or the Twins for like Minnesota. Like I think it's those markets are a little tougher because like who wants to go and play there?
But why would that differ for the Angels? It's still LA.
Because they have
LA is gonna
Exactly.
because they have a losing record all the time. They just
I think
Dodgers,
it's
no matter
the
who they have,
history
always
of the
win.
Dodgers. Yeah, it's the
You know,
history behind the Dodgers and everything, and they're willing to spend the money to where the Angels aren't.
I
I mean,
also
they
think
spent it on
though,
Mike Trout.
yeah, I also think though, Chris, to your point, like I wouldn't spend that because like the Dodgers are super successful right now, but you look at the Yankees, like they're spending the same amount of money paying the luxury tax and they're not winning. Right? Same with the Mets. Like you're spending the money. You have good players on the team. Steve Cohen's still paying $450 million at the end of the year, plus he still has his MLB rights fee for being an owner most recently that he's paying. He's shelling out like almost $700 million in total this year. Like, I'm not spending that to guarantee I'm winning a World Series because nothing's guaranteed. Like,
Yeah, and
at the end of the day, it's just not. And like, that's where I differ on it. Like, I just wouldn't do it.
I think coming from the Red Sox side of things too. Like we have a giant market here in Boston, but our GMs don't seem to spend the capability that they have with that giant market. I mean, yeah, you sign dudes like Bregman, like his contract's pretty big, but he's going to opt out. You can re-sign him, right? But it's always with the Red Sox, especially the past couple of years, where we really haven't won a whole lot, right? It's why are you not spending it? Like, and I think you just hit on it a little bit, Sal. Like, nothing is guaranteed. You're not guaranteed to win a World Series anymore. Like, but I mean, you can probably make a safe bet that it's going to be the Dodgers this year. But there's no guarantee in that anymore. And I think now, and I think this will come up again in another episode because we're all signs are leading towards no baseball in 2027. So I think this is going to be a really important topic to come up within the next couple of years, whether or not, like, do we implement the salary cap? Do we limit what they can spend in a year when also the players are asking for higher contracts than they've ever before? Like, what is league minimum? now? What is like a
Not sure.
vet minimum? It's like over $1 million. I
Yeah.
remember like in 2015, we had some dudes on the Red Sox that were making like 500 grand.
Yeah.
That would never happen today. And
Yeah.
so I think it's a give or take with like salary cap, but then like what the players are asking for now. And you have agents like Scott Boras who are gonna try and demand top dollar on that stuff. So I think it's a give
100%.
and take.
100%. But Greg, we have come now to the third week of Greg's Ball Bet of the Week. You're currently 0-2. What's it going to be?
This week, I mean, I'm starting to learn from my mistakes, right? Week 1, to recap, had the Jets over the Broncos. That one seemed somewhat realistic at the time. Didn't play out. Last week, we're gonna skip last week because it didn't happen. This week, I'm gonna make a bet about an individual player, right? We talked about this team being extremely hot, right? Indianapolis Colts. Look at their schedule this week. They are playing the Titans. I predict that Jonathan Taylor for my ball bet of the week is going to go for $150 and at least a tutty.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
That's a great
team.
Good bet.
Titans stink.
I like it.
Terrible.
I like it.
It's so bad.
Jonathan
If
Taylor.
you let Ramondre Stevenson rush for almost 100 yards with no fumbles, by the way, that's a pretty bad.
That's a good bet. I like
$150
Good
and a
bet.
touchdown, I think.
Good bet.
$150 and a touchdown.
I
Okay,
think we-
all right.
I think we get the first win here. Let's go.
I love it. I would be honored.
I think we
Greg,
do.
I need, if this bet hits, I need like something painted on the forehead.
Go a little
or the-
Avatar Ang. Little Avatar Ang for you. All right. Well, then maybe I'll talk about that.
Oh man. Well, as always, it's always a fun episode. Hey, just a reminder, we are a partner with SeatGeek, so be sure you love sports, you want to go to an event, make sure you use code GOATTALK at your checkout for $20 off your purchase to see your favorite team. Joey, close us out.
As always, thank you everybody for tuning in.